The Galactic Defense Council met in emergency session. The situation was dire. A new threat had emerged. The Grash, a hive-minded species, was sweeping through the galaxy, consuming everything in their path. Fleet after fleet had fallen. World after world had been lost. The Council was desperate. They had tried everything. Nothing worked. Someone asked about humans. They are a small species. Primitive. What could they possibly offer? Some argued against involving humans. They were too weak, too unimportant. Others were desperate enough to try anything. The Council voted to ask for human assistance. A message was sent to Earth. We request military aid. The Grash threat is overwhelming. Please send whatever forces you can spare. Earth's reply was immediate. We have received your request. Assistance is on the way. ETA 72 hours. The Council was relieved. Help was coming. They did not know what to expect, but anything was better than nothing. 3 days passed. The Council gathered to welcome the human forces. They expected a small fleet. Maybe a few ships. A gesture of solidarity. Sensors detected something. Ships. Thousands of them. Hundreds of thousands. Jumping into the system. The Council watched in stunned silence as the largest fleet they had ever seen filled their sky. Ships of every size and shape. Dreadnoughts. Carriers. Battleships. So many they blocked out the stars. A transmission came from the lead ship. A calm human voice. Human fleet has arrived. Requesting coordinates for deployment. The alien general, a Krell named General Voth, found his voice. How many ships do you have? The human commander paused. 500,000. Is that enough? We can call more if needed. General Voth stared at the screen. 500,000. He had asked for whatever they could spare. This was what humans considered spare. He looked at his advisors. No one knew what to say. General Voth met with the human commander, a woman named Admiral Chen. He was still in shock. His hands shook slightly as he sat across from her. Why so many? Voth asked. We expected a small force. A few ships. This is more than our entire combined fleet. Admiral Chen looked confused. You said the threat was overwhelming. We wanted to make sure we had enough. Voth tried to explain. But this is excessive. This is overkill. No one needs this many ships. Chen smiled. You don't understand. On Earth, we have a saying. There's no such thing as overkill. There's only open fire and reload. We believe in being thorough. She explained. Humans had faced extinction events before. Wars that nearly wiped them out. They learned that the only way to survive was to be absolutely certain. To bring overwhelming force. To leave nothing to chance. We don't believe in winning by a little, Chen said. We believe in winning so completely that the enemy never even thinks about trying again. Voth began to understand. Humans were not like other species. They did not do things by half measures. When they committed completely. The human fleet deployed. Ships moved into position around key worlds. The Grash advance slowed. Then stopped. When the Grash finally engaged, the battle was short. Overwhelming firepower. Perfect coordination. The Grash were annihilated. The galaxy was saved. The Council celebrated. But they also watched the human fleet with new eyes. And new respect. After the battle, General Voth approached Admiral Chen. Thank you, he said. You saved us all. Chen nodded. That's what we do. Voth hesitated. Can I ask you something? Chen nodded again. What is Thursday? Voth was genuinely curious. You said we call it Thursday. What does that mean? Chen laughed. On Earth, we have a 7-day week. Thursday is just another day. Nothing special. We work, we live, we go about our business. So when you said we call it Thursday, you meant this is normal. This is routine. Chen nodded. For us, yes. We train for this. We prepare for this. When a threat appears, we respond. It's what we do. It's not extraordinary. It's just Thursday. Voth was stunned. What he considered impossible, humans considered routine. What he considered overwhelming, they considered standard procedure. Chen invited Voth to tour the human fleet. He saw the ships, the crews, the technology. He saw how they trained, how they lived, how they prepared. Everything was organized, efficient, ready. He understood now. Humans were not just powerful. They were dedicated. They had built a culture of readiness, of response, of absolute commitment to protecting themselves and others. Do you ever get tired? Vath asked. Of always being ready? Of always preparing for the worst? Chen thought about it. Sometimes. But we also know that being ready means we can enjoy peace. We can live our lives without fear. That's worth the effort. Vath left the tour with deep respect for humanity. They were not conquerors. They were not aggressors. They were guardians. And they took that role seriously. Humans and the Galactic Council became partners. Trade began. Knowledge was shared. A new era of cooperation dawned. Years later, a new threat emerged. Something even worse than the Grash. The Council looked to humanity. And the humans responded. Because that was what they did. It was just another Thursday. A mysterious signal arrived from beyond the galaxy. It was powerful, ancient, and getting closer. The galaxy panicked. No one knew what it was. No one knew what to do. Ships scrambled. Leaders shouted. Fear spread like fire. Humans studied the signal. They recognized it. They had seen it before. Admiral Chen stood before the council. Her face was calm, but her eyes held something new. Concern. Long ago, before we came to this galaxy, we encountered something. Something that drove us here. We thought we had escaped it. We were wrong. The council was terrified. If something scared humans, something that made them flee across galaxies, what chance did they have? Humans prepared. Not to flee. To fight. They had been preparing for this for centuries. They were ready. The human fleet assembled. Not 500,000 ships. Millions. The largest fleet ever seen. It filled the sky, blocking out the stars. General Vath, now old, stood beside Admiral Chen. He looked at the fleet. He looked at her. Is this enough? He asked. Chen smiled. We call it Thursday. The enemy arrived. The battle was fierce. Ships were lost on both sides. But the humans did not stop, did not retreat, did not surrender. The enemy was defeated. The galaxy was saved. Humans stood among the wreckage, tired but victorious. The council celebrated. But they also wondered. If humans could defeat this, what else could they do? What else were they hiding? Admiral Chen addressed the council. We have nothing to hide. We are just people. People who refuse to quit. That's all we've ever been. Humans became partners with the galaxy. Not rulers. Not conquerors. Partners. They shared their technology, their philosophy, their way of life. Worlds that had once feared them now welcomed them. The galaxy learned. Humans were not to be feared. They were to be respected. They were not aggressive. They were protective. They did not seek war. They sought peace. But they were always ready. Years later, an old General Vath sat with Admiral Chen, also old. They watched the stars together, as they had done so many times before. Do you ever regret it? Vath asked. All those years of preparation, all those ships. Chen shook her head. No. Every ship, every soldier, every hour of training was worth it. We saved lives. We protected the innocent. That's all that matters. Vath nodded. You taught us something. That true strength is not in how much you can destroy. It's in how much you can protect. Chen smiled. That's the only lesson that matters. They sat together, watching the stars. Two old friends. Two species. One understanding. And somewhere, in the darkness, a human fleet patrolled. Silent. Patient. Ready. Just in case. Because that was what Guardians did. They watched. They waited. They prepared. And when the call came, they answered. It was just another Thursday.